I can't think of a single deal we've done that felt standard. Our first big wholesale, we wholesaled an RV park that we had to renegotiate, ended up wholesaling it on seller financing.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's episode of the Collecting Keys Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today is the Scale Show, and we are here with two Scale members, Emma and Kyle Greenwood, that have been with us now for about 7 months and are slinging a ton of deals up there in North Idaho. I'll say a ton of deals for how short you've been in, because usually the learning phase you're going through is pretty barren, and you guys have been taking out some pretty big stuff. So if this is your first time to this show, I am Mike DeHaan here with my co-host Dylan Cook. And on these episodes, we interview people that are in that grind phase of the real estate business to figure out what exactly is working for them in this current market. So Emma and Kyle, welcome to the show, you guys. Super, super excited to have you on. And it's funny because we hopped on, you said that we were premature on doing this, but I don't know, after spending some time with you on our little hike this weekend, I mean, you guys got a lot of stuff going on, so don't discredit the success that you've had. So really quick, give us a 3-minute rundown, who exactly you are, where specifically you are based, and what your team and business currently looks like.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us. We are currently based in North Idaho, so we operate in 4 different counties up here. A lot of them are more rural. As of right now, the team is just myself and Kyle, who is also my husband. We're doing about a deal a month and mostly wholesaling them, but obviously we're looking to cherry pick if there's any easy flip opportunities or something that we just can't pass up as a rental. But we're really kind of trying to focus on wholesaling it for the time being.
Cool. And before we dive into some of the other details there, what is the general population of the markets that you guys are working in right now? Because they're not incredibly big. And one of the biggest, I would say, concerns we get all the time is from people that are trying to do this in like smaller markets. And your guys are honestly about as small as they get.
Yeah, I mean, every city that we market to is under 10,000 people.
Yeah.
That's extremely small.
Which means there's a lot, and it's like rural, mountainous, and so a lot of driving to appointments.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not only are they super small, but you're far from everything, and like the nearest town, Spokane, where I'm at, is 2 hours away, further from some of these places, but you guys are still able to get deals done. And so I just wanted to emphasize that, because for a lot of people that think you're in these small rural areas outside of wherever, I have people that'll be like, I'm in a town of 200,000 people. Is that too small? No. These guys, 5% of that is some of these towns, and they're getting them done over there. So really good stuff.
I'm curious, as like working together as husband and wife, do you guys have your roles designated up as acquisitions, dispositions, or what did you guys kind of figure out works best for you guys?
Yeah, right now I'm dispositions, Emma's acquisitions. After KeysCon though, just based on like our disc profile and our personalities, we realized that we're both really good at sales. So now I'm getting more into the acquisition side of things, which we've flopped that a couple of times. Like Emma was dispositions for a little bit, and we just kind of like played around with it. But we just sent out new mail, and we set up our phone number to ring simultaneous. So we're going to
fight for it when it rings.
We're going to start some sort of competition.
Yeah.
So it'll like incentivize you to answer that call when it comes in too.
I just imagine you guys are at dinner and then you're like, no, I'm first, picking up the phone.
Yeah, exactly. No, I gotta go. Yeah.
It took us a while to figure out our roles. I feel like we're in a pretty good place now. At the beginning, it was like we didn't know who was doing what. And now, like Kyle said, he's been doing a really great job with dispositions. I've been doing mostly acquisitions, but I do a lot more of the back end stuff. So it'll be nice to bring him on to help out with some acquisitions. So all the kind of like organizational stuff, I can have a little more time for that.
Well, I just want to touch on this. You're in such a small market, and we would probably get to this eventually, but I'm going to bring it forward. Selling, like finding your buyers in such a small market, you must have to sell the deals to them too. So it is kind of a selling on the dispo side too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than other markets seemingly. No, we've never done in other markets, but like a lot of people we're selling deals to, it's like that might be their only deal they buy that year.
Mm-hmm. You don't have big conglomerates buying.
Yeah. And like there are some big guys, but they're out of Spokane, and they're just like they have to really need or want a deal to look at our deals at that time, because they're just a little bit further away than the deals we're finding in Spokane.
Yeah.
Especially since Mike and Dan started marketing again to Spokane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's like an understated piece of like the current real estate market, right? Is people will say like there's no buyers out there, which isn't true. There are buyers. It's just that they have to be wanting to buy your specific deal, because now buyers have options, right? So when people complain about how all the buyers have dried up, it's just that they are choosing to pass on your deals because they're not as good as the other deals that they are seeing from other people, right? Or it's just not as convenient for them, for you guys being more rural, appealing to kind of like the people in the city. They're going to get more deals in the city as well. So why should they go and invest that money to do something that they're going to be driving 2 hours away if they don't need to do that, right? And just means your deals need to be a little bit better, because I can guarantee you, if you get a flip that someone's going to make 150 grand on, they're going to be willing to drive that versus, if they're going to be making $30,000, which is probably what they're going to make it in the city anyway. So,
Or we're just finding those really rural buyers, which is fun too. Like, we wholesaled one in this small town called Bonners Ferry, and this investor in Bonners Ferry bought it, and he was stoked.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the Bonners Ferry guy.
And every town has that guy, right? And you just need to find who they are and then try to have a backup plan in case they don't want to buy your deal, or they decide that they're going to be a little bit more competitive with you, which can happen as well. So in these rural areas, how are you sourcing all these deals right now?
Pretty much everything's coming from direct mail.
Yeah.
Yep. We've been sending out mail for a while now, and we've got a pretty decent pipeline of people, and all mail though. Yeah.
All mail. Our big flip that we're working on right now was a referral, which was from our property manager that we had. We went to some real estate conference a while ago, and some lady was talking about always like ask every real estate agent and property manager for deals. So I just periodically will like text people, just reminding them that we'll buy stuff, and I finally got a hot lead from it, and we closed on that one.
Yeah, and that's your huge deal, right?
Yeah,
cool. Well,
we paid him $2,000 for the referral fee too. So.
That's very generous of you, knowing the numbers on that deal.
With him, pay him $50 instead.
Yeah, right. Did you throw in like a free gift card to Subway or something for him too? One that you found in like your junk drawer.
He lives in a town with no Subway, so
that's how you know it's a small town. Holy shit!
So, how much direct mail are you sending right now?
So up until this month, we've been sending about $2,000 worth, so like only about 2,000 pieces ish. But we just decided we really just wanted to double it. So our biggest marketing order just went out last week, and we spent $4,700.
Okay, so you'd say you spent $2,000 ish a month, 7 months. You're in around 15K. And how many deals have you done so far?
Well, we skipped a couple months because we were just
shame on
you. we messed up. Not that we were trying to.
That's about right. What we've spent looking at our numbers, I think just under 15,000.
Before spending the 4,700 this month, including that referral fee, we're at just under 7,000. That's how much
in total spend, and you've already done 7 deals.
Mail. 5 deals.
5 deals. Okay, so either way, your cost feels like $1,200.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's like absurd. Right. That's another benefit of if you can find these smaller markets too. You guys are having to work to get them done, but your cost per opportunity is so much lower than you're trying to do it in some of these more competitive markets.
Yeah, like most of the leads we're getting, they're not talking to other people
because there are no other people.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah. So that's been like that's been a huge reason of why we're getting some of these deals.
Yeah,
we had to cancel 3 contracts too. So
we
did have 8 contracts, but
we talk on the show a lot how this business is more sales and marketing than people realize. And the reason for that is because you're usually competing with other investors. So you have to kind of win that confidence. But you guys don't have that. That makes sense to me why you'd have either A, larger profits, or B, less acquisition cost.
Yeah, and actually this month, there's one county that is a little bit more populated, which is Kootenai County, where Coeur d'Alene is. Previously, we weren't really marketing to them because we didn't really want to deal with that competition. But now I feel like we're much better salespeople. And so I kind of was like, you know what? screw it, let's market to them. I was like, we can compete with the other wholesalers. So now we're starting to market to Kootenai County, which has a little bit bigger of a population. I think they're probably more like 300,000 in that county.
I don't think they're that big.
Not, okay, well, Mike knows. Yeah, maybe 200. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up really quick. Kootenai County population.
More than 10,000.
More than 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the entire county, it says about 183,000.
Okay, there you go.
So yeah, so that's bigger than I was expecting it to be. But the town of Coeur d'Alene's not very big. It's only about 55,000 people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
So it's still a ton of rural areas. But nice. So you're starting to expand out into those spots. And is that your most recent marketing batch that you did that with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested. I'll be interested to hear how that pans out.
I wish maybe should have added to pretty much. I don't know. 80% of the leads are driving for dollar leads too.
Oh, that's where you're getting your main lists.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going and driving out in like these super rural towns and grabbing.
Yeah, like I do it on my bike, and I literally will print out a map and like use a marker, and I'll hit every single street, and because it takes like a day or two to do the whole town.
Yeah, it's funny because Emma just kind of smirked there. Like that's legit though, right? Like that's the hustle.
Yep.
Well, also I feel like a lot of people would be like, "Why is he doing that?" But also he just likes to do it. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that's the thing that most people are not going to do, which gives you a competitive advantage, right? Like so many people are always trying to figure out how to be competitive by doing like AI or this other bullshit stuff. You're like, no, I'm just gonna go ride my bike and like see the properties that suck and add those to our list. Like that's as straightforward as it gets, right?
And if they're not showing up in other lists, that's even better.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess with these deals you've been closing, like since you're in these rural areas, what's your typical deal size?
I would guess, I mean, they're kind of all over the board. We've had fees from $10,000 to $50,000. So, probably around 20, I would say would be our average.
Yeah. Well, and then just to tease, we're going to dive into details on this one at the end. What's your current projected profit on this big deal you're working on?
I would say comfortably around 150,000.
Well, that's your share though too, right?
And yeah, that's with a partner. So we'll be split. That's us. That's our share. Yeah. And then they also should probably make that much.
Yeah. Total. If everything goes perfectly, there could be like $400,000.
If it goes horribly wrong, I still think each partnership will make like $100,000.
Yeah. So this is in these rural areas. You're pulling down these massive deals that people think only exist in high cost of living areas.
This was a kind of a weird deal too, though. There's 5 houses on one like parcel, and we're having to work with the city and a surveyor to get it all split up, and it's a little different, and it's taking a little long. It's not just like a quick like paint and carpet and flooring and stuff.
That is more of an advanced strategy though that you guys took on, and just doing this for not even a year. Mm-hmm. I mean, most people won't even recognize the opportunity to do something with that deal. So I guess my point.
Yeah, I think our first like box we need to check is like we have a private money lender that will give us a loan at a 10%, and we can usually use equity from our other houses to buy it with 100% financing. And we're like, if we can cash flow with this private money loan, then there's like so many different ways we can like cut it up as a deal. So like once we realize we're like, dang, this thing cash flow is pretty good with a private money loan, let's just do it. Yeah, and I was just telling Mike about this last weekend. No one would even look at this deal. They didn't like. They wouldn't even open the email.
Yeah,
so
because it's out in the middle of nowhere. But
there's money everywhere though.
There's money everywhere. And so how many of these deals though have you done in these rural spots where you've had to get a little bit more creative like this? Because you've had a couple that you've taken down. I mean, and I think this is where people tend to get thrown off with some of these smaller markets, is they want it to be like you get a house in the up and coming B class neighborhood for 60 cents in the dollar and you sell it for 70 cents in the dollar and you make your fee. But you've had what I think I can think of at least 2 of the ones that you've closed where you've been getting pretty creative with how you've been piecing together. Is that pretty common, or you have deals as well that you're doing that are just like more standard?
I can't think of a single deal we've done that felt standard. Our first big wholesale, we wholesaled an RV park that we had to renegotiate, ended up wholesaling it on seller financing. One of the ones we wholesaled had it under contract for like 140, ended up having to drop the price almost like $70,000 because we found out there was like no foundation to the house. It was basically a tear down, and they still agreed
Nice.
to it. Like every deal has just been what feels like a complete roller coaster.
Yeah. But you're still though, your total gross revenue on the year at this point is probably what, 200K?
Well, as of right now, it's 96,000.
96. But then when you have
For
the
the
big deal.
That's not including any projected income.
Sure.
that's just for wholesale fees, and then Emma's also an agent. She's done like 55,000 in commission, and then with our 2 rental properties, including a big cash out refinance, we've brought in 42,000. So total gross is a little over 176.
176 gross off of your
Are you
$15,000
guys both doing this full
spend
time?
so far.
I forgot to ask that.
Well, full time, no, because we don't really work full time, but it's the only thing we're doing.
Sure. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But I guess the important metrics that would fall there is 96,000 in wholesale revenue, current 7K in ad spend. Right?
Yep. Basically.
Yeah.
12x ish.
No, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, about.
plus the retail stuff, which has come off of your guys' marketing, I believe, plus the projected. So even if you guys did nothing else, you're gonna 30x your total investment that you've spent on your marketing so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I had a question. This is kind of a selfish question, but Emma's a licensed agent, and I guess it depends on how the market is there in your rural areas as far as like why wholesale over fix and flipping?
Why wholesale over fix and flipping? Honestly, we don't know a lot about rehab. This first flip that we did take on, the only reason we felt comfortable was because we brought on a partner who's doing 100% of the rehab, and they have a lot of experience with that. So we've talked about it, and it's probably something that we will get more into, I would imagine. But as of right now, I think we are just trying to keep the risk pretty low. And
Sure.
I don't know, Kyle.
I don't think what you're doing is wrong. I just want to know what details like what experience you use to make that decision. Because if you're a licensed agent, you can list your own flips, do the 3% save on that. And I don't know.
I think a lot of it is just, we just have followed like the scale, like Mike and Dan's advice of just, it's less risky. Like a lot can go wrong with a flip. Not a lot can go wrong with a successful wholesale. Like if you get across the finish line, it's done. You've got your money. It might be less, but now you don't have to worry about it, and you can spend your time doing other things. But a big thing too is we just don't have like a ton of capital. Like after this flip closes and we're selling a rental property, that will probably walk away with at least 100,000, give or take. And then we'll have some like walking around money to take down more flips. And I think with the rural areas, like it would be nice to be able to take some of these down, because dispo is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. As long as they're selective. I mean, I think the risk you'll have in these more rural areas is if you do have a flip, the chance of them sitting on market for longer is going to be much higher, which can start to get very expensive very quickly. But so what does your general process look like then with you guys working together on this? I mean, obviously you have slightly different roles and acquisitions and dispositions. What about how do you guys handle your leads? Is it whoever talks to them first basically owns the leads? Do you guys trade off? Who is actually doing like all the middle parts of the business, the data and all those sort of things? How's all that organized between you guys?
Yeah, basically whoever has talked to the lead first pretty much just is the one who continues talking with them the whole time. So the majority of the leads, I would say, are mine, because I'm the one who's primarily been answering the initial phone calls. And then, Kyle has really done a good job of like building up a great buyers list. Like he's like master networker. So he's always like meeting new people. I mean, he's the one who met like you, Mike, and kind of got us going here in the community, which has helped a lot. In terms of a lot of the back end stuff, like Kyle deals with our finances, but then I do all of kind of like the data management and marketing, things like that. Day to day is pretty casual here at the Greenwood household.
So like if a lead comes in for like an Ari Simply and Emma talked to him first for the lead follow up, is Emma Like, do you have one account where it's like these are Emma's tasks and these are Kyle's tasks, or you just kind of tackle them together?
Yeah, it's like these are Emma's and these are Kyle's.
Okay.
And we each have like our own, RE Simply profiles, and it's like I have
Okay.
leads that are assigned to me. I'm the only one who's really working through those. I'm assigning myself tasks for however
Got it.
long,
Mhm.
yeah.
So we've just changed it to our next batch of marketing. So now our phone will ring at the same time, which should be any day now. But prior, Emma was answering all the calls, so they were all her leads. But she was like getting a little more of a workload, so I took like a few of them, or like just the ones that like I was just kind of like her lead manager. Just like if she couldn't get a hold of these people, but like there was something there, like I would just start calling them. And then 95% of the time, if we're going on an appointment, we always do it together. And then we just kind of like play off of whoever the seller is. Like if they're driving with me or Emma, then we just kind of flip flop, and the other person will just take photos usually and just kind of be in the background. And Emma's like really just more approachable, and like I think I'm better with like the B2B kind of stuff, so that's why I do the dispositions. And then it's like when we're on appointments, Emma's just like great at getting people talking, and then I can be good at just cutting to the chase and like be like, all right, let's figure out an offer here. Like, what do you guys need from us? Like, is this a deal? And kind of steering the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's perfect too. Like all different seller personalities are going to go with different people, right? And I think that if you're able to do walkthroughs with two people, it's always a little bit more effective because one person can really focus on the rapport, the other person can focus on the property. So that is an interesting challenge, I think, for people that are starting out, is like, how do you make sure that you're actually getting good photos, especially if you have like a super chatty seller or things like that, right? So no, nice. That's awesome. So when you guys are doing all this stuff together, I mean, how do you balance business with your guys's, like marriage and relationship? Or is it kind of just like all melded together and you're cool with that? That's always a question that I hear in like abundance, is like, I want to work with my wife, but I don't want to talk about business all the time. I mean, we've had people on the show like Billy and Tara Fernandez who just don't care and they always do that. Or like, the Hermosies are very much like, that is what we do in our marriage, is we talk about business. Do you guys have issues separating things, or do you guys just sort of like roll with it?
I would say we maybe at the beginning we were thinking, oh, we need more like strict rules around when we can talk about it, when we can't, but we don't have rules really. And I think what is helpful for us is we have a lot of other hobbies that we enjoy together. We really like riding bikes and hiking and doing a lot of stuff outside and traveling. And so we do talk about business a decent amount, but we also talk about a lot of other stuff. And I think if one of us is not in the mood to talk about business and it is like a bad time, the other person will just be like, hey, just ask me tomorrow, ask me in business hours.
Yeah, right.
We'll just be like, not right now. I don't. And that's like, we just have to be honest about that. Like one person might like, I've just came home from a like 30-minute drive and they listen to a podcast and like, I have all these ideas. The other person's like, not right now. I can't even think about that right now. And so,
But we heard, some people are like strict, like no talking about business when you're like on a date or whatever. And like, I think that's silly too, because what if you're both excited and you both want to talk about it? Like we've definitely done that before. We're like out to dinner, like drinking some wine, and we're just like stoked and we want to like chat about these new ideas. We'll just do it.
Yeah.
And then we usually put that on the business card.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
You kind of hinted at it earlier, but you guys, are managing your marriage and the business, but you're also, there's one thing you're doing, but it's not full time. So how many hours are you working, would you say, in the business per week?
My guess is anywhere between 20 to 30 hours a week would be my guess for how much I'm working.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's like some days we'll put in like 10, 12 hours if it needs to happen. But like, it's just, you just know that it needs to get done and it doesn't really feel like work. It's like the days where like, there's not really much to do, that's like tough to actually like sit down and like get some like back end work done that isn't time
Well, I see you guys
sensitive.
on, I think I follow both of you or at least one of you on social media. I don't know, it was like one random day of the week. And when you guys were both golfing in the golf course, and I was sitting here on my computer doing like back end like data stuff. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I should be golfing too. So it's just cool that you have that balance too. I love that.
Yeah, it's like really, that's why we wanted to get into real estate, was for like the freedom, and that's why we wanted to do our own thing. And so we try to make that like a importance. But we also nerd out about real estate and stuff. So when we have to get work done, it doesn't really feel like work a lot of the times.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's huge, right? And the fact that you guys are both kind of like that's also probably why it's easy to meld with your marriage. I feel like a lot of people that need to have like those strict separations, it's typically because they don't actually like it, or they don't they don't really have that much in common with their spouse, and they're trying to like force something that they're going to have in common. That seems to be a very like regular thing that I find with people, is like they've had kids for so long and now they don't really have anything in common anymore. So now like, oh, we're going to do a business together, but we don't have hobbies or anything outside like the kids in our business that we enjoy doing together or that we have similar. And that's where it kind of becomes trickier for people to separate. But I mean, if it's, when you have a business you enjoy, like it feels like a hobby very, very quickly. Something that I've always noticed has been, people will make comments about how I work all the time. I'm like, what the fuck else am I going to do? Like, I don't know. Like I could sit and play video games or go for a bike ride or go for a hike or go play golf or do whatever. But the thing is, when I do those, I end up just thinking about business and stuff the entire time anyway. So why not? I find it to be sort of meditative. Maybe we went hiking this past Saturday. I spent most of that hike like just like thinking about different ideas and stuff that I had, because it's a perfect time to sort of, I don't know, have clarity away from phone calls and everything else.
Yeah, totally. And I would add too, on our working together, we have separate offices in our house,
Nice.
which uh, I think is huge, especially for like this business when you're on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
We just would get like distracted, like one person would have an idea. Usually that person was me, and just kind of derail us from actually getting work done, just
Yeah.
like talking about work.
Yeah.
So that's huge, just because we can go in our separate offices, get some stuff done, and then it's like, all right, I'm done. I'm not going in the office anymore. I'm going
Yeah.
golfing or whatever.
So you guys have like the chill lifestyle right now. You're making some money. Um, what are your guys' goals over the next like 12 months?
I mean, we definitely want to grow. As of right now, we're doing about one deal a month. Um, I don't really see us becoming the people who are running a large team or doing 5 to 10 deals a month. Like, I think that our goals are probably to do like a couple wholesale deals a month, a couple flips a year, and then kind of cherry pick when we find those really good buy and hold opportunities, kind of to
Mhm.
do that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And we're partnering on this flip, and I just like the idea of partnering where we can like use our skill set and not have to like manage a whole flip. I've always like keeping our options open for certain partnerships. Like every buyer I talk to, I kind of always like soft pitch, like, yeah, if you want to pay for the marketing for vacant land, like we can do that. But
Mhm.
like those, like let us do our thing. You can do your thing, and I think that's been huge for us to be able to have the flexibility to have a good work life balance, I guess.
On the partnership with the flip, how is that structured?
Basically, we found the deal and we just approached them. These are some friends of ours who have done a lot of flips and they do pretty much all the work themselves. So they're like pretty dialed with
Hmm.
keeping rehab really low and things like that. We just approached her and we were like, hey, would you want to partner on this with us? Go 50-50. After she saw the numbers, she was like pretty much all in. So pretty much we found the deal. We were in charge of working with the city and getting all of the survey stuff kind of situated, because like we said, it was 5 houses on one parcel. It's been kind of a decent amount of work getting those separated. And then they were in charge of all the rehab, and then we are just splitting the profits 50-50.
Yeah, it's another couple that we partnered with. Yeah, they do all their own work. They just killed it and like knocked it out of the park. I'll go up there every once in a while, just do like dump run or like weed whack, just to feel like I'm helping. Uh, and yeah, like we were supposed to do the survey kind of end of things, but she just kind of built like really good rapport with the surveyor that we had, and she asked, she's like, "I'm not like steamrolling you, Emma." I was like, "No, if you like, seems like you've kind of got it better than I had it. So go ahead and
Kind of
run
like
with
when
it.
you guys
So
talk to sellers, she had a better rapport with the surveyor.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
In the show, we often talk about like it doesn't make sense to give up 50% of your profits for a flip. But I think this was not just a financial decision, but it was a lifestyle decision for you guys.
Mhm.
Because even if you're managing a GC, you still have to manage a GC, right? And so it sounds like very hands off for you guys. You know, once you've done your part, the rehab's very hands off, and then you just collect the check at the end.
Yeah, our very first rental we bought was the house was a total piece of crap, and we did a lot of it ourselves and managed all of it ourselves, and quickly learned that we did not enjoy doing that, and that was
Mhm.
where we were honestly like arguing the most in our business. And
Mhm.
when we were deciding what we wanted to do with this project, we were like, well, do we want to spend our whole summer down like crappily putting this house together? And I'm sure we would have done a lot of it because we didn't, not knowing what we were doing. Or do we want to give up some of that profit and truly just, have a lot more time?
Yeah. And it was a big project for like a first time flip, 5 houses and like dealing with surveyors and it was like a little big. So we're so happy for our partners, Joe and Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think on that one totally makes sense explaining that right. Where I tend to get a little bit concerned is when you get newer people that are like, "Oh yeah, I have this like old mentor in town who he's going to like fund this deal for me and we're going to split the profits 50-50." I'm like, yeah, "How about you don't do that because they're about to get an insane return on their money and you're going to do all the work and they're not going to give you nearly as much guidance as you're hoping that they will most of the time." But I mean, if it's a division of labor like that, especially if it's that much of a lift, like totally, that makes perfect sense, right? It's a true JV at that point. You guys have a lot of stuff going on though, and you guys have a great momentum going forward. I'm really excited to see how the next little bit pans out for you, especially because I feel like the market that we are in, between Spokane up where you're at, is still on like a very very strong trajectory, all things considered. So there's tons of potential that you guys have. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna dive into our end of show questions here to wrap up. So first question, and I know you just talked about your big deal. If you have another one that comes to mind, that would be cool too. But otherwise, we can dive into a little bit more. But what is your craziest real estate story that you have?
So this one, we have 2 rental properties, and this was the second one that we bought. This was prior to us kind of going all in on wholesaling, and Emma and her previous partner were just sending like a few mailers out a month, and they did wholesaled a few. We bought one of the rentals through that, and this was like in the middle of the winter. It was like snowing, so we didn't want to like drive out there. Emma took the call. She just assumed it was like in really bad shape because they were calling us. And so she was like, "Oh, I don't know. I bought my last property for 90,000." The lady was like, "Well, I'll do 100,000." And so she got the phone. We talked, and I was like, "So it's under a contract. It's pretty hard to mess up for $100,000 house in that area." So we sent her contract, got it signed, sight unseen, and then we sent an inspector out there, and it was like a blizzard, so we like didn't drive out again. And then the inspector went out there, and then we found out that it had a double lot and like a 5-year-old, like 600 square foot shop on it that we didn't even know about originally. So we ended up buying that house when we had like, I think we had like $5,000 in our bank account.
Like personal bank account.
All bank accounts. And we used that private money lender who put a second lien on our first rental property to fund 100% of it. And then it was like $3,000 or $4,000 in closing costs. And it was just like such a good deal that we were like, let's just get, like, we have to buy this thing. If we got it now, we probably would have wholesaled it with our financial situation, but we were just like, we have to buy every house, every good deal we have to buy. Yeah. So we ended up buying it, and then we just like had no money, like no cash for groceries or anything. We bought this house. But we just did a cash out refinance on it and pulled out $40,000, and it got appraised at $350,000. Wow. We bought it for $100,000. So
and put $0 into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you only pulled out 40 grand on the refi?
Well, because the
200.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the rents weren't high enough, so we wanted to like break even. Honestly, we probably should just sell it, but it has these tenants in it that have been in there for 10 years, and they're both like 80-year-old sisters, and we're just, because we got such a good deal on it, we're like it's their house, we don't want to like just kick these ladies out. So
The whole reason that the lady sold it to us at such a deep discount was she was like, "Oh, these sisters are in there. Do you guys buy houses with tenants?" And we're like, "Yeah." And we agreed to sign a year lease with them, which the year lease has since passed, but
they're just so nice, and we just can't kick them out.
they pay rent on time every month.
Yeah. So we basically break even every month. We pulled $40,000 out, and we still have like a
shit ton of equity.
Bunch of equity. Yeah. So and we needed the cash out, so we were like, all right, it's fine. Let's just like take this cash. It'll be great for our business. We reinvested it. That's like how we're able to do a lot of stuff. Like, I think, Mike, when I first called you, I was like, I'm about to do this cash out refinance, so I have some money to like pay for some like coaching. And if we had all the money in the world, the move would have been to wait and sell it and just get all the cash. But we didn't really have that luxury. So
wholesaling it, though, like knowing you guys might have been tougher because who knows what the end buyer is going to do with those people, right?
Totally.
Yeah, they're paying $1,000 a month, and we could probably get like $1,800 a month. But we don't have to do anything. They take care of the entire house. It's like they treat it like it's their own.
Yeah. I mean, and if you don't need the money, right? Like, I mean, obviously your business is going very well. So why not? Like, if you were in a position where you were hitting me up on Slack and Scale every other day, and you were like, I can't get any deals, I'm trying to figure out how to do it, I'm spending $1,500 a month on marketing, I'd be like, yeah, you should fucking deal with that. Then I should sell that. You have all this money that you can invest, but since you're not in that position, who cares? Just leave it there. Get a little tax benefit, at the end of the year. Yeah, makes sense to me.
I'm sure the ladies will have to move into a nursing home at some point.
Yeah.
At some point.
We told them, like, in the lease, the original lease, we're like, you can move out at any time.
We were like, feel free to break the lease.
This lease protects you. It does not protect us.
Yeah, right.
You can. Yeah. It was in the lease that they were like could break the lease at any time they wanted. Yeah, that's funny.
One other question for you guys: if you could go back to the very beginning of starting your real estate investing journey, like the off-market stuff, what's one thing you would do differently?
I'm gonna say finding either mentors or like surrounding yourself with a group of people who are also running a similar business. That has just been really, really helpful for us. Before it was just me and Kyle, like throwing ideas at each other. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were like using YouTube and just kind of mostly self-taught. But if you can surround yourself with people who are running the same business more successfully than you are, it just like keeps you motivated. And it's been really, really awesome for us. So I think looking for mentorship or something like that sooner, we would have probably just catapulted our business a little sooner.
Yeah.
Who knows though? We could have just joined the sub 2 community and we'd just be spinning our tires. So
that's funny because one of the first conversations that we ever had, I remember you guys being like, yeah, we liked you because you talk shit on Pace Morby all the time.
Yeah. We were always very skeptical of mentorship. So be picky.
Yeah.
But
people can smell that Pace Morby BS from a long way away, usually.
Yeah.
Smart people can. And if they can't smell that, then they deserve to be taken advantage of anyway because they're fucking dumb. So that's my strong opinion for the day. But anyways, all right. Where can people find you guys, follow you, and reach out to you?
They can find us on social media. I'm on Instagram at the Emma Greenwood, or Facebook. I use a lot for my business, Emma Greenwood.
Facebook or Instagram, Kyle Greenwood, or my Instagram is loose_tribe.
Yeah.
Give me a follow. It's mostly just like mountain biking and golfing.
There you go.
There's a few real estate plugs.
But it's the ultimate lifestyle.
Yeah, reach out to me
brand.
if you want.
So, and I will say, guys, definitely reach out to Emma and Kyle because you guys are very gracious with your time. You're super, super involved in Scale. And I can't tell you how many members I've talked to as well that have been, I don't know, I would say like struggling to kind of figure stuff out. And they'll say things like, oh yeah, well, I was just talking to Kyle the other day and he was kind of giving me some good direction on XYZ. So I always really appreciate that too. But,
sweet.
Yeah.
Soon I'll be launching Scale Point 2.
There you go.
2.0.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Point 2.
So,
still in
Point 2.
Point
it's like 20%,
like a really small
20% of what you get from Scale.
Yeah, right.
It's only $100.
Yeah, you can launch your own mastermind and call it the Loose Tribe or whatever. And it'll be super questionable, whatever that's going to be.
I'll just accept your friend request. That's all you get.
There you go. Right. Yeah. I'll send you a, like an occasional meeting invite that I just won't show up for. That's what a lot of those mentorships do is they'll like have it booked on the calendar a month in advance and they'll cancel it 15 minutes before. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Or say,
No,
I need a copy of your purchase and sale agreement, and all they do is go into Google and download one off the internet and send it to you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously though, that is, God damn it. Why is
Mike, I couldn't do what you do, man. You spend so much time helping people. It's crazy.
It's fun. I like
yeah.
it. Like, I don't know. It's people always ask about that. And it's like my passion project, honestly, because like you guys know, you've been in this for a little while. This business isn't that complicated. Like, it's not easy, but it's fundamentally very simple. And for me to like see people sort of go through that growth phase of like, oh, this is actually how I can make my old annual salary on a monthly basis and like have that awakening is super fun. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that people should be like, I don't have such limiting beliefs around that because it's not crazy, but people always want to try and find the get rich quick scheme. It's not necessary. But cool. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys so much, both as community members as well as for coming on the show. And I've really appreciated the friendship we've developed over the last little bit too. So guys, go and hit up Kyle and Emma. They're doing some great things up there in North Idaho. And if you guys want to inspire some of your friends around how you can actually run a small real estate business where you make multi-six figures a year while working 20 to 30 hours a week and going biking and golfing on a random Tuesday, then share this one with them because Kyle and Emma are doing that very literally while they are crushing some massive deals up there in North Idaho. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys next week.